Hi everybody, Leonard here from Drawplet, and today we'll be painting seafoam. Seafoam is something that I really enjoy painting because it's simple and kind of therapeutic to paint. Looking at the sea always reminds me of how small and insignificant our worries are, and there's just something soothing about the sound of waves hitting the shore. So hopefully this piece would capture some of that emotion, and it's kind of cool having a tiny piece of an ocean hung up on your wall, right? As usual, we'll start off with a sketch. I'm using a reference picture for this piece, and I'll put the link in the description below so you can just download it and paint along. In this case, I would just do a rough outline of the seafoam, and it wouldn't be exactly like the reference picture. However, there are still things to keep in mind while you're sketching, such as the overall direction of the waves and taking note of the light source so you know what colors to fill in later. Right now we'll come to our color mix, and there'll just be a few colors that we'll use for this piece, and they are phthalo blue, phthalo green, indigo black, and Payne's grey. So I'm going to mix phthalo blue and phthalo green here, and it gives you a really nice teal color. I'll start off with a teal color as my base, and this is basically the mix that we did earlier. And for the darker areas, we'll use a bit of indigo and black. I like to work really wet because it gives me more time and freedom to tweak and adjust before it gets soaked up by the paper. As I paint, I'm also intentionally keeping the edges a little jagged. That way the waves look more random and natural, as compared to painting straight and smooth lines. The technique that you see here where the colors blend into another color is also known as wet on wet. This technique would usually create soft and seamless blending, and we're going to be using that for most of our painting today. So don't worry if you're not able to get it right on your first try, because this would usually require some amount of practice. And my tip is always to use a good cotton paper and to work wet enough so it doesn't dry out midway through. I'll continue painting the rest of the seafoam, and if you realize that there's no pencil lines, it's because there's no pencil lines. So I'm just trying to wing it as we go and try to figure out like where's the best spot to place seafoam based on the reference picture that I have. While doing that, just try to remember that everything on the left is supposed to be a little darker. In this case, we are using indigo and black, and everything that's on the right tend to be a little more teal green, because that's where the light source is coming from. After painting everything, I realized that the color still seemed a little light. I'll just go over with another layer to make them more vibrant. So observation is really important. Usually we would want to observe as we paint, and this is something that comes with experience. To be able to tell if you require additional layers or if you have overworked. Try to paint more, and in due time you would be able to tell if you lack something or if there's something that you have to work on. So in watercolor, there's no rules or structure that you have to follow, and most of it is just paint as you go. Now we'll add some shadows over the white areas to give it some perspective. I'm using clear water to wet the areas first, and then I'll come in with a bit of Payne's Grey while the paper is still wet. So this is the same wet on wet technique that we have used earlier on, and it's so important to use this method to achieve that soft and fluffy texture that we want for the seafoam. And now we'll add the fine details of the seafoam. I like using gouache because it's semi-opaque, so sometimes you can see through the lines, giving it a natural fading effect. You can also use a white gel pen if you find it easier to control. Finally, remove the tape carefully and we are done. So here's a quick recap of what we've learned today. Always take note of the light source, which in this case is coming in from the right, And to use wet on wet for smooth blending, try to observe the macro view as you paint, and always work on the details last. I hope that this tutorial has been useful. Remember to like and subscribe if you have enjoyed this tutorial, and let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. Happy painting, and I'll see you next time.